Good morning again, and welcome to Community Voice. And I'm on this side of 9 o'clock. So I want to thank everybody for joining us this morning. It is Wednesday, joined in studio by Bria.
That was dramatic.
Wasn't it?
Good morning, Keith.
Bria Grant. Keon Jackson Malone.
Bria.
The gifted and talented
Wasn't it dramatic?
Bria.
How
All right.
are you this morning, Keith?
I'm doing well. What order that? What automatic district are you in?
I am in the 7th
Excellent.
Automatic District.
Saturday.
Yes.
This Saturday, there will be a Automatic District 7 Candidates Forum at the Embassy, formerly known as Park Lawn Assembly of God Church. Currently, right now, we have candidate Jessica Curry, candidate Kenneth Hughes, candidate DeAndre Jackson, and candidate Randy Jones. And so this goes from 11 to 1, Saturday, February the 3rd, at Embassy Center, Milwaukee, formerly known as Park Lawn Assembly of God. This is sponsored by the Sherman Park Community Association, the Dominican Center, Fond du Lac Avenue Vid. Is this Wisconsin Voices? Yep. The Amani United, Central City Triangle, Northwest Side Community Development Court. Yep. So again, that will be Saturday. So in the 7th District, again, looks like they're going to have a primary. They got 4 candidates.
You know,
I don't know any of these folks.
I'm a little concerned.
Okay.
I'm a little concerned. I'm learning. Did you say Randy Jones? He's one of
Yep.
Okay. I'm learning the candidates. I've been in that district since I was 11 years old. And now that I am able to engage, because, you know, as a kid, you don't know what's going on. You know, you see the changes, you see growth. I've seen amazing growth in my neighborhood. And, you know, I've had some unique experiences with representation. And so I hope that we are able to put someone in place who understands their full role, who has the experience. You know, I guess I'm a little exhausted with social service in brick and mortar positions. And I speak that because oftentimes we are like, oh, you know, we're going to, you know, provide support in, what am I trying to say? We want to make sure we take care of the families. Yes. And this is not a social service position.
What is it now?
Alderman,
Okay.
alderperson, common council. It's not social service. Right? That's the county. County is more human services, programs, you know, being able to support. Granted, they don't make as much, right?
We've got the health department, which I would think is part of services.
It's still brick and mortar on the structure of the health department and how we support them being able to meet their mission with dollars and things of that nature, right? So we need people that are going to be smart. We need smart people, not people that are charismatic, that can present to be lovely. And it's okay to be lovely. You need that too. You need that as well. But we need people that are going to understand how to put together a budget. They're going to have to understand the property tax levy and how that all ties into, right? We're not giving away diapers, which is good. It's okay to do that. We're not getting ready to march with the faith community to go, you know, remove people from positions because we haven't totally internalized what it means to run a housing authority, right? I'm talking about the things that we have being presented to us as options in the 7th District for people to better understand.
I'm in the 10th. And so for the first time in my 26 years living in that neighborhood, I'll be voting for someone different than I had over those years. And
Yeah.
I want to say this, and I know he was controversial, but when it came to your needs, in terms of constituent issues, Murphy was on it. His office was on it. I mean, all we had,
Yeah.
and like I said, there's some things we definitely disagree on, political, philosophical things, but in terms of doing, in which I agree, you just hit it. Look, your alderman is not there to be your community leader. Your alderman is there to be your representative
That's right.
and to make sure that those services that the city
That's
provides,
right.
that they're being delivered to that neighborhood.
Yeah.
And so I think when we look now, again, some of these folks, I think Kenneth Hughes has ran in the past.
He did.
Yeah.
He ran in the last election. He owns the hot dog space in North Avenue Grill.
Oh, is that right?
I think I believe. Yep.
No, over not the grill, over on
Uh,
59th.
Yeah. What's that called? The
North
marketplace.
Avenue.
North Avenue Market. Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, I had a panani from there. It was good. Oh, they got good
Panani.
food. A panani, that's a pressed sandwich.
I watched Poetic Justice, so I thought you said something. I thought you were referring to something. Yep. Yep.
We on it today, aren't we? Heard a comparison to chitlins this morning. That was little.
Chitlins.
No, it was something else that was added to it this morning. No, so again,
I agree with you on Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy
Let me
was
just share
yeah.
that he did his due diligence in his office,
Mhm.
right? Making sure that data was something he can use to justify,
Right.
how he served his constituents. And again, we have mixed up what it means to serve in these roles, right? These are this position is behind the scenes, getting the work done, looking at internal processes, making sure there's efficiency, making sure we're responsible with all positions in leadership should be doing this, making sure dollars are used appropriately. It's not a whole bunch of press conferences. Right, it's being connected in the community, attending those neighborhood meetings so that you can be aware of what the concerns are, helping your constituents understand what your lane is. Sometimes our representatives they overpromise and undercommit.
Yeah, and they will not be allowed to say I'm bringing jobs because that is not what you do. It has not been done, and I think that and obviously,
what?
Well, that aldermen create jobs. You'll hear people making, and I'm sure if you start pulling up their websites, you're going to see something on there about jobs. I think that's great. That's one of those things that's sugar in the Kool-Aid. But the reality is, you don't. Yeah. You can vote for policies that might be favorable. You might want to look at how you do a bid in your automatic district.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of you creating jobs, it's not. And so if we're talking about, but there are challenges out there that I think they have to do. I'm sure and again, I don't know the quite layout of what the 7th district looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're over in the area where there are a lot of not Hasidic, but very conservative Jews.
Yes.
And so that is stabilized here. I think St. Joseph's is in that district.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, I think people need to come out, hear these folks. And again, none of these folks have ever been alder people before. And so, you again, going in and so I think it's important. And again, I don't know if who's running. I saw one name over in my district, but I have to go and pull up now to see who's actually on the ballot. Caller, welcome to the program.
Shalom, family.
Good morning.
What's happening?
I'm well. How are you two? You three.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Bria, I don't know why you take that abuse when they come in and they start the show and they sigh before saying, I'm happy. I'm sorry. I had to say something about that. That's not the reason I called, though.
Oh man, everybody love Bria.
I know you do. Everybody do. Everybody do.
Oh, somebody hated on me so hard yesterday. What's up, Craig?
Hey, so the reason actually I called during Michelle's show, I know she's probably gone now. And I started to hang up, but then I said, nah, let me hear what they're gonna get into. I did want to share this thought though. She made mention of a statue of Jackie Robinson that was cut down. And it surprised me that she said she was leaning towards that she didn't want to point to the, plausible culprit being some white person with, some ignorance running through him, who just can't stand himself or herself, first off, and, would do something so ignorant like that. Would waste the time and the breath and the energy to go and do that. So, they got these motives, right? And my point in calling to mention that was that it's about insecurity. These people don't want to compete with nobody else, and that's one of the things that we have to realize that has been part of the way this society has operated. It's a fear of competition. The whole thing about flying, but primarily the point that she was making about whoever this individual or these individuals were who cut down this statue. You would think that here in 2023, you have to believe it wasn't somebody older than probably 50, 60 years old. So somebody between the 20 and 40 some odd years old. But how is it that these people still are holding on to this type of ignorance? And they've been indoctrinated or brainwashed into believing that they're superior somehow, that, they are entitled to, something that nobody else is entitled to, that they're supposed to have these privileges. And all of it to me is rooted in insecurity, not wanting to compete, and I just find that to be, it's almost disturbing. But when you know it, then you can just leave it where it is and recognize it for what it is. Just like Trump. When you recognize who he is, you can really just leave him where he is and let him sort of self-destruct. And that's what we're seeing. And I think, this whole piece that these people have brought, carried on with them from generation to generation. They talk about us having this generational type of, impact from the trauma that our ancestors have gone through. These people have traumatized themselves with the things they did and what they continue to pass down to one generation. It's a cancer. It's a cancer upon them that they've put forth so much effort to do a lot of this ignorant stuff that has no value to humanity whatsoever, other than for them to say, "Oh boy, y'all see what we did," and that kind of thing. It seems that would make the thinking person really, or if they were thinking people, they would stop and say, "Why am I wasting my time doing this? Why am I putting time into this? Why is it that I use my brain or the mind that I have to think about different things to do that really is doing nothing but showing more of your ignorance?" So it's that kind of thing. And it was just, when she mentioned it, that she was sort of leaning towards, no, your show is named, and if you're listening, your show is Keep It Real, or say something real, right?
Okay, but hey, Craig.
Mm-hmm. I know
what was the no. What was the giveaway? Was it a pickup truck? Because we didn't believe that the DC sniper was black. That's a great line that Cedric the Entertainer had in Barbershop. He said that the DC sniper is the Jackie Robinson of crime, right? Because we just never. So sometimes you're right. Yeah. Yeah.
We know now that he was still in jokes.
Well, then somebody wrote that. Somebody wrote that for him. But you know what I mean? So yeah, I would lean that way, but let's just say the 2% chance that it might have been, maybe if it was an Escalade.
I don't know. Because it's not like we don't have tools.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
These white boys are riding around. Most of them hold these construction jobs. They got the tools right there on the truck most of the time. So percentages lean. I can see where she used the term lean towards.
Right, lean towards.
But I'm just saying, when we think about all the things that go into that kind of ignorance, you know,
Yeah, man, but you know what?
See us typically riding around destroying white statues, right?
Ooh,
And if
yeah,
I
they did.
destroy a statue,
They did in Madison.
Black folks destroying some white statues, some white.
No, it was some white people destroying.
Oh no. See, what I'm saying is on the flip side of the coin, you don't see young black, middle-aged black riding around who are in construction taking the time to plot out, I'm gonna go find me a statue of George Washington, like that one that's over by Washington Park, and go cut it down.
That's not George Washington.
Who is it?
That is Kosciuszko.
On the horse.
On the horse, you got to look at it's Kosciuszko. I always thought it was George Washington too. It's actually Kosciuszko, but okay.
I sure did. I stand corrected because I sure they're looking at that hat. I'm like,
I know, yeah.
So,
I'm thinking
anyway,
yes, Kosciuszko.
You know the
That's
point.
Like.
Yeah, and that's my point. It's like we got enough things to be dealing with in this society without having to be saying I'm gonna take this slice of my day and we're gonna plan. You know, because I mean you have to think with more than one person. First of all, but to even put forth the effort to go and say we're gonna plan to do this, you know, and it just speaks to all the other ignorant stuff that they've done throughout the course of the history of this country. But it shows who they are insecure people, and you know don't really want to compete on a fair playing field. And I'll be out with that, man, because it's sort of, I mean, you would hope we get past that by now. You know, but the human condition is really, really jacked up. So,
all right, appreciate
I'll leave it at that.
All right,
peace, family.
Yep,
peace.
Caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, Keon. Listen, I called in on Michelle's show and I was distracted. I wanted to really say Keon did an excellent job last night on the intergenerational conversation. One of many hats that he wear in our community. But next thing I want to say is why do we always have to pit Beyonce and Taylor Swift together? Beyonce and Jay-Z are doing fine where they are. She don't have to be doing baseball. We don't know how many fans that like Beyonce that attend the game. So all that is so irrelevant. And I think we should get away from pitting people against each other. And I'm going to tell you, the reason why they this diversity and inclusion deal, they want to, I think it shows a lack of intelligence for them to even put that in writing. What are you doing to our country when you take the very fabric woven together to make us who we are and you start destroying it and picking strings out of it? What does that do to a white person that have a black boss? Now, what is he going to go to work and say? I don't have to listen to you. You know what I'm saying? They're messing with something. That's what I'm saying. When you start tinkling with something like abortion, that's more complicated than they can handle. Like Obamacare, that's more complicated than they can handle too. So they need to leave some things alone and keep us working together as much as we possibly can. Because to pit us against each other, you're just destroying. And it's not worth it. And I want to say one other thing. Khalif Rainey, I loved him in the job and the position he did. I don't care who else don't like that. Number one, if you work and doing what you need to be doing in your area, in your block, and I did that. And for years, we had a walkthrough where he brought out all of the departments that needed to walk through the block and make changes and make notes of things. And people came out to meet him and the people that work in the various departments. And it was really great. So unless you're doing something, I call in and I talk because I've been a participant for over 30 years of working in the community in various different capacities, okay? So I know when I say what I'm talking about. And unless you participate, don't complain. One guy can't take care of 12,000 people. Let's get real. But he has a good assistant, and I'm telling you, Yvonne was excellent.
Yes.
I need to have to. See, this is what I learned from a CEO when I was working. He said, don't call on me. Call on the Chihuahuas. You call in the big dog when they haven't been doing their jobs. and you'll see the job get done. Thank you.
You're welcome. And let me do a cleanup here. Actually, that statue outside of Washington Park is Frederick William von Steuben.
Okay.
Frederick William von Steuben.
Now, what did he do? Why did they? Why does he?
Revolutionary War general.
Oh, okay.
And then the Washington Monument is actually downtown on Wisconsin Avenue. That's that statue of George Washington.
Mm-hmm.
And then Kosciuszko is outside of Kosciuszko Park.
I would think that it would be near the park. Okay.
Yeah, but this is von Steuben. I knew it wasn't George Washington, but it's von Steuben.
You know, I wish I would have had a. Do we have another caller? Oh, I had an opportunity to ask the last caller because she talked about abortion, and I talked about this a little bit last week. That the faith community is a large voting block here in Black community. It's okay for me to talk about just the Black community because we're just talking about Black voter turnout.
Well, we really would like to include white people as much as possible, but if you need to have a Black conversation, let's have one.
Yeah,
let's go at it.
I'm just saying. I'm just talking specifically for a population.
Just
the populations of color. So I won't even just say Black people of color. And so in the faith community, because even when we think about our Hispanic brothers and sisters, Catholicism does not allow for them to support a person's right to choose, right? These are deciding factors. These are issues that have caused us to be confused in how we need to support the people in their freedom. And I say that because I'm a believer. You know, people that know me, I am a praise the Lord, thank you, Jesus type person. Really, to my core, Keith. You know, if you caught another side, that's probably, just me showing you love. Because that's what we call it. Do we have a caller on?
Yeah. Oh. Hey, caller, we're going to get you, man, but we're hearing your conversation right now. Go on.
So, the issue of abortion is one that is actually very, very simple, right? This is between a person and their God. Now, I understand the conversation about saying, am I going to spend public dollars on your service? Well, maybe not, right? But the service should be made available for people to have safe procedures. And I think that we need to do a little work in our community around that conversation. So I just want to bring that up because that's a huge issue.
Well, I find it real interesting. And again, let's and you're right. We as Black Christians skew a little conservative in our political views. Yeah. But I've always had a problem with the contradiction that the state of Alabama will come up with efficient ways to execute someone, right? We talk about value life.
Yes.
And at the same time, have one of the most stringent anti-abortion laws in the country. There is a contradiction there.
It is.
And again, I will say this about the Catholic Church. They are consistent. They do not support capital punishment. They do not support abortion. They don't even support contraceptives. Now, that is the leadership. When you look at the number of Catholic women who use contraceptives and the number of Catholic women who do have abortions, in spite of which is amazing, unmarried males are saying should be the dogma. So I agree with you in terms of that. There's a lot. Anyway, we love Black Jesus. Caller, welcome to the program. Good morning.
Oh, now you're not there.
Oh man, I got two people on the line. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hi there. I'm calling in about the 10th district. The candidates coming through, and I don't know. We might need someone new, a new face, a new voice, someone who's strong. I do know Randy. I know him pretty well, and I believe he will be a strong candidate. But one thing we do have is a big issue in our 10th district. Well, in all, because I have a couple of properties and businesses in that area, and in the 15. And you can call the police right now and get no response. Maybe hours later, next day, maybe. But right now it's very terrible out here. That the homeless, they violent. I was at one of my friend's businesses last week, and we were standing there talking, and one of the homeless guys was in there, and he said, "You can't be in my place of business." And the guy said, "Why not?" And he said, "I ain't got no respect for you because he's from India." I said, "Well, this is a friend of mine." He said, "No, you're Uncle Tom. You just, some went there." And I said, "No, man, you just don't know why." But the thing here is that you can't be disrespectful. So he called the police because the guy wanted to get violent. And the guy had a crack pipe laying on the counter and had ball crack over there. And I'm like, "Man, you need to go with this mess." He got mad. He ran off and he came back because we were going to push the stuff in the garbage, and he grabbed it and ran back out, but came back later and fell asleep in the place, called the police, and they never responded. It's bad out here. What are we going to do about it as business owners, taxpayers? What's going on? I know we got a police shortage, but what's going on? We need help in our Black community. I hate to put this across the air because a lot of times you put stuff across the air and these ignorant folk find out that the police is so weak as they are right now, response, that they get even worse. But even in the faith base, we need to work on, come together more as a people of color and start going out here and standing on things, because we do, the Catholic Church, they do stand. They stand on the things and they persistent. But we have a tendency of falling apart, breaking down, and going back home and go to bed. So that's what I got to say.
All right, appreciate you.
Thank you.
Caller, welcome to the program.
We love you, Keith.
No, that's caller's not me. Let me see who we got over here in the 10th. Now, the 10th is a pretty
Charlotte Moore.
Charlotte Moore, that's Reggie's wife?
Charlotte Moore is Charlotte Moore. And
Charlotte Moore is...
It is what Reggie's wife, but that's Charlotte Moore.
I'm just trying to figure out who she is. I don't know her. I maybe met her twice. And she might want to get over to my address because I don't know her.
Okay, well, I'm sure she will make her way over to you, Keith. Parris. I'm sure. Charlotte.
I can't give the address over the air, but that's why I was such a big Nakia. I was. She was always on the doors.
Yeah, and so not to have comparison, right? But Nakia kind of grew up but career wise in this work. Charlene has truly, been called. So
called by who?
Her work.
Oh, okay.
The heck. Get ready to go into a monologue now. Interrupt my monologue. Well, clearly I'm Team Charlene. No. But I say that because she has, raised her children. She served in her community. Yes, she's a wife, right? And a wife to an individual that has served in a very public space. That has received lots of scrutiny, right? And so we can talk about the Martin Luther Kings and the Barack Obamas, but we also know the strength that Coretta needed and the strength that Michelle needed to be able to manage the home and a husband that's living such life. So now, Keith, if we could have Michelle Obama on a ticket, but now Charlene has been able to say, you know what? I've been able to do this over here. Let me provide to my community in an even greater way as a representative for one of our aldermanic districts. And you know what? One of the other reasons why I'm really excited about her running is, naturally I'm not like a, all girl, everything type person, but there is power when Black women lead. And I'm not knocking any other type of woman, but there's a uniqueness that is brought to the space, and she will contribute to the other women that are currently in position now. I say that recognizing her record as a woman. I don't believe just because you're a Black woman, you need to serve in space, because some of us bring more damage than good, just because we carry so much, right? So in this race, in this space, I hope that she will make her way to you. I know she will,
Sure.
and that she will find that you are a support. I'm just saying that when you hear her and she introduces herself, and you begin to learn who she is, Keith, because you're an important constituent in the district.
Well,
And hold on, last piece. She knows what her role is. She knows what her role is. And so that is all right. That's my 2 cents.
we're on a break.
No worries, no worries. So I wanted to talk about a couple things before we get ready to go into the break. One is there was a recent incident where a young man was killed. It was in the news, it was on social media. He was killed doing his job at an establishment here in the city. Um, and there's a bittersweet, there's a catch 22 when these type of things happen. Um, One, if there was a homicide at the library, people would be cautious about going to that library. It had nothing to do with the business of the library, right? That this is available for people to come and check out books, and it is just the fear, naturally, right? The fear that, oh my goodness, someone was killed over there. I'm not going back to the library. And so I bring that up because how do we support? How do we understand and continue to support businesses when they experience public situations that may not be so favorable, particularly in our nightlife or entertainment, um, in our entertainment world, when we have shootings, immediately it's like, oh, don't go over there. Oh, we need to pull licenses and things. And Alderman Bauman said something that is just real. The shooting that happened at Elsa's a couple weeks ago. Keith, do you go to Elsa's? You like their chicken?
Oh man, I don't do the chicken wings.
Oh, okay. Okay,
No, I don't do
good.
that. The
I
chicken
was,
wings are okay,
yeah, I thought you were getting ready to.
but they have a turkey sandwich and
Okay,
that flatbread. Oh, they just got great food.
okay. Nonetheless, the incident will cause people to say, "Oh, I don't know that I want to go down to Elsa's," right? And so that didn't happen. People still go to Elsa's. You go to Elsa's is packed, right? I don't know what the difference is between the businesses when they have an incident like Elsa's and the businesses like Prime when they have an incident. Why is it that people will continue to support the downtown establishments, but they will, cease to support more of the inner city spaces? And I was kind of processing this, right? Because Alderman Bauman stated after that incident, no knock to the business, right? He's like, we're not even going to look at the business. We need to persecute the offenders and perpetrators to the fullest extent of the law. That was the response. Now, it makes sense, right? That our focus should be on the people that are offending and creating these spaces that become a safety concern, and not necessarily the business that is trying to manage a public that they don't know what's coming in the doors.
Can I? And I'll just put it out as a question. We pick it up on the other side
Yeah,
of the break.
absolutely.
Is it the feeling that that business is drawing certain type of activity to the area?
That's what we're going to talk about.
You're listening to Community Voices Wednesday. We're joined in studio by Miss Bria Grant. Phone lines are open 414-444-5250, 414-444-5250. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back.
includes treasured classics, neoclassical, and innovative contemporary works that use the language of ballet to celebrate African American culture. The Dance Theater of Harlem, February 14th at the Marcus Performing Arts Center. Get your tickets at the box office or marcuscenter.org.
Lay your head on my pillow.
You're listening to WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee. WNOV 860 and W293CX 106.5 Milwaukee. Community Voice on WNOV 860 AM and 106.5 FM.
Welcome back to Community Voice, and we have received our entrance for the Valentine's Day giveaway. So we do have our entrance for my program. So all those folks who got in qualified. So just letting you know, they didn't hang up, Doki. All right.
A lot of them are on TuneIn and they 30-second delay.
Okay, then they'll hear it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The question I asked before we went to break was, is it the issue that when the Common Council is talking about, for example, whether or not to renew a liquor license, and again, Elsa's a little bit different because Elsa's is not in like a residential area. It's a destination point, but
They have housing there.
It's residential.
Yeah, they have
yeah, but I'm
housing.
saying, but it's a business district. I mean, you have housing, but it's a business.
It's a
different.
rich housing district.
It's different.
Any-
It's
any
different than
corridor?
where Jamie's supper club was. Is that Jamie? I always do Jamie's. What's the supper club? It's going to be Jeans.
Okay.
That's right in a neighborhood. I mean, if they were across the street, they're straight.
It's on a corridor.
Yeah, but
a
if they were
business
across the
corridor.
street, they would be okay. But when people park, they're parking in neighborhoods, right? They're parking in. There's a residential neighborhood that abuts it. So I think that the complaints and then the people who come in, and then I hate to put it this way, who are you drawing? What does your crowd look like?
So let me speak to that.
It has been a switch.
So let me speak to that, right? Because when I go to Water Street, they have barricades and they have police everywhere.
Mhm.
You know why? Because they know what type of people are existing in our community and they don't want them down there. They know that the presence alone is a deterrent for certain behaviors. It's just what it is, right? So the district can afford to have that type of support, or the city can prioritize that as support. And I'm not knocking it. I think that's a great strategy. We should make sure we have some protection for our entertainment district downtown. But the same people that they're trying to prevent from coming into those establishments are coming into the establishments that can't afford an officer, or who are put lower on the totem pole of an off-duty officer because they have to respond to what's happening at Water Street.
Yeah, but here's the difference. The behavior on Water Street was not in the clubs. The behavior on Water Street was actually on Water Street. It's the same issue they're dealing with now.
They didn't make it in the club. They was drunk.
Because they're not going to go in the club. Because these are kids. Most of them, some of the problems that you had down there with kids weren't even eligible to get in the club. They weren't even 21. What I'm saying is that when you draw a younger demographic, like, you know, we're at the point in our lives where we ain't clubbing every weekend. But if you're 22, 23, you clubbing every weekend 2-3 times, you know, because that's your world. That means, and then the other thing is, like, for Water Street, there was people hanging out. They weren't going into, is McGillicuddy still down there?
Yes.
They're not going into those spots.
What?
They just walking,
Hey.
they just walking back. But the people who are causing problems are not the people who are going and patronizing those bars. Because it's a free event. And that's the other thing about free. When it's free. Now, if I'm opening up a club,
what's the thing about when it's free?
because when it's free, you don't get
Everybody
a chance
comes.
to. Everybody comes. You get a little bit of everything. When I pay for it, I ain't dropping $150 and taking a gun down to see an act. I'm just not going to do that.
That's what kind of that was the difference between Brady Street being liberal and Water Street being bougie, because just the price alone will keep people from down there. You know, you want to price folks out. That's, you know, grown
Well,
and such.
And then young people here and even older people, oh, there's going to be some drama. So they down there for the drama, right? So then it becomes a problem. But then in those areas where people, and it's not just on the north side. We hear about these north side bars, south side bars too.
Oh, yeah.
Same thing. They're in neighborhoods. And the people that's going to keep that bar open right now is not the stool guys. You know, the guys, if you go down to, what's my spot right here? You go get your food. Right there on
fourth quarter.
Right. Those are folks who go, it's a neighborhood bar.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an old bar. But if I'm opening up a club like Jay's is always going to be a problem, because the people you need to get in to make your money are people who bring in, they're younger. And some of them are stuck on stupid.
Well, it's
Again,
not
my
just
point-
always younger. What was the thing? I was out the room. I was doing something else. What was the thing? Elsa's they up for licenses or something?
No.
They had a
But
shooting.
Bauman didn't. It wasn't an issue with the establishment. For him, he's recognizing that, hey, we need to persecute the perpetrators. We don't want to shut down a business because they're just running a business, and somebody came with an issue.
Property
That-
taxes.
that
The
ha-
money that Elsa's generates in terms of property taxes, no disrespect, is greater than the money Mr. J's generate in terms of property tax.
It's still
Well, hold on,
property
but,
tax
but wait a minute. But
for
then,
the district.
then again, it's
For-
a crowd. It's a crowd difference. We got
That
into this.
too.
We got into this. Me and Michelle got into it heavy. Remember the roller skating rink that didn't want the people from Milwaukee there?
Yes.
You know, and we were talking about.
Hold on, but wait. Go ahead.
We were talking about discrimination,
Uh-huh.
and I said the longest standing black bar owners in the city at the time, they discriminated by age, which was Mr. J, which was
Yeah.
Arliss,
It was 30 and up.
35 and up.
Yeah.
Arliss, Booby, Wes's. You had, well, 70s. You had to have a certain. That's discrimination too. I don't want you in here at a certain age because a certain crowd is this or that.
Yep.
So what happens with these bars, like you talking about Mr. J's, it was also after what was that? ARJ's had closed.
Mhm.
Once and certain people we know had to go publicly and get the license for the person who worked for Arliss. But ever since Arliss had it, it was the way he ran it, and a certain crowd he did not want there,
Right.
that he never had trouble. And they said that publicly. As long as he had it, there was never a problem. It's always the guy after.
Because they're looking at a younger people. They're gonna look. I need to make money. Now, and one thing, they're gonna come in there.
Money, yeah.
I agree with that. Right. But what I'm saying is, they need to get in and get somebody. Yeah, I'll come in and I'll do that. But even back in the day, I could tell you that when I was out, there were certain spots you didn't go to because it had its issues. If you go to other spots, and as soon as that spot got hot, where, again, I think the spot was Mr. J's on Center Street. Everybody remember back in the day? Every now and then a fight might break out up in there because some dude done came in and so, but it wasn't the drama. I could walk across the street to Ellis. It wasn't the drama. I could go to Turan's or Tap One. Right. It wasn't because it was an older crowd. We ain't about that. But young people, and here's the other thing. Dudes out there flexing. It's like the kickball league. No disrespect. When the kickball league got young and it's male and female, you got all kind of, because that's just youth. It's energy. They're still sexually active.
The Milwaukee kickball league?
Yeah.
You said when it got young, it's not kids.
No, when I'm young, people in their 20s, early 30s, you still out trying to hook up. I mean, that's real talk.
Emotional dysregulation. Right. Don't know how to handle your
right. And so you got all those dynamics with heat. Some people getting right before they go out there, and bam, here you go. You got an issue. And you're trying to tell people, man, I don't know. So I never liked hanging out where there was drama, but I'm telling you, that draws, especially young people. They'll show up for that. Someone was telling me the story. Their niece was down in Racine. She's like 16, 17.
Go ahead.
And she said she's down in Racine. She want to come up to Water Street right after they had the shooting after the Deer District.
Because it's lit.
Yeah.
Because in their minds, that's fun.
And I was always.
They ain't figured it out yet. It ain't fun. Yeah. Especially when you get shot. It ain't fun.
Those are some of my kids. It was all fun and drama until they got to 27 years. Now it ain't really fun.
It ain't fun.
They realized it took them a while, but some of them was like, I should have been there with them. It would have been handled different. No, God stopped you.
Yeah.
You wasn't supposed to be there. But I was always kind of ahead of the game. I didn't get carded to my 21st birthday at an old spot my grandmama used to go to. What's that across from Gallas? They called it Surfside.
Oh, Mr.
Parks' place.
Yeah, well, Surfside 16 back in the day.
See, I listened to the elders. So I would venture off. I mean, I don't gonna lie. I would like to be where my age group wasn't. I used to go to Christopher's Jazz Lounge, and then Have a Nice Day Cafe opened up. And I was at Christopher's Jazz Lounge dressed up in high school with a full beard, hanging out with the jazz cats. And all of a sudden, my age group ended up across the street shooting downtown. Oh, y'all done made
I tell you.
So when my kids told me we was on Water Street, I was like, y'all was where? Yeah. We was on Water Street. What was you doing on Water Street, fam? We was kicking it.
Everybody remember back in the day, right? Papa Giles, which later became Sonny's on Broadway, right? And everybody remember the dance floor. And so I'm down there hanging out one time. And guess who comes in?
Who?
My sister and her crew.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a 9-year difference between me and my sister. This is not the spot I need to be hanging out in. So then I said, okay, cool. I'm gonna go to Siboney's. Who's hanging out in Siboney's? My aunt. She's older than me. I'm like, where can I go? But I think, if you sit up and you look at it, charge some money and see how the behavior changes.
You know what? I was going to say, they charge money to get into these establishments, Keith.
I know.
Yeah. And when you have a concentrated population that lack proper coping skills, you are going to have concern and issues, right? This is why I mentioned on Water Street, they know this and they provide the support. Inner city businesses, establishments, I mean, you have to be able to pay good security, right? And even with good security, stuff still happens, right?
Oh, yeah.
It still happens.
You're playing with
right? And here's my
concern. His issue wasn't what was going on inside his establishment.
That's my point.
It was all the drama was happening outside, but then they're saying, but your club brought the people in the neighborhood.
I hear you. I hear it. I hear and I understand. At the end of the day, do we say we don't have any of these businesses?
Wait, guess what?
Because because they're gonna go somewhere.
Yeah.
They're
Chris
gonna
Rock,
go somewhere.
When did Chris Rock do the special when he talked about you can't open a black club? Because what did he say? And this he from New York, right? He said grand opening,
grand
4 days grand closing.
But here's the thing with Jeans. Once again, a lot of people don't know because they kept the name. Jeans been let it go. Gene has been out of that.
But
It
I
was
know
a new-
James, I
it
know
was-
James Jr.
But it's a new. Once
It
again,
was James
but
Jr. And
guess what?
James Jr.
Junior ain't senior.
No, James Jr., James Robinson Jr. He was running the place. It had nothing to do with how the place was run on the inside.
It was outside.
It was outside because it was younger people coming and they're bringing their drama. And so it was like, now how do you, and if you're a black bar owner, you have quite a dilemma because if you have not been established like 502 that's been here since the 20th century, right? Talk about that, right?
Yeah.
So, it's real different. And then who's coming up in the spot? You have people like Catfish Lounge. Problems at Catfish because the people coming up Catfish are older, mature, but open up a club. With my spot over here, is it Odyssey? What's on Onyx?
Oasis.
But that's what I was saying. That was Arliss. Same guy who worked for Arliss is owning it now. So once again, you said Junior, not Senior. I ran a bar where Junior got it and I ran it. Junior want that other money. I knew from Senior that Senior want long money. He won't cats that'll sit there all day and buy for each other. Junior wants somebody that's gonna buy the bar and buy the bottles.
But Senior already had established relationships with people who are sitting with him.
Right.
I think that there's a culture shift that we're not considering as we are trying
That's
to
why I said
manage
culture.
Yeah, trying to manage business, right? And so, all right, caller.
Hold on.
Caller.
Catch him after the break.
Oh. All right, caller.
Hey, caller. Welcome back to Community Voice.
I'm getting ready to go to therapy mode.
Don't feed into him.
Okay.
Don't feed into
I
him.
won't.
He's agitated.
How come I can't get the help I need?
Because you don't.
How come I can't get the help I need?
Because you're the devil. You're working for the devil.
Mercy,
That's why.
Lord.
You're the devil.
You don't even want the help.
Jeez Louise.
Smell the sulfur up in here. Caller, welcome to the program.
Hello.
Good morning.
Oh, good morning. I heard y'all talking about bars and people conduct. I think back then people knew how to conduct themselves, but where we are today, a lot of times that a lot of these bars and clubs can't open is because you have the wrong energy. And I do know when you have bars that's free, you get some of the worst and worst where they won't even be going to the bar buying a drink. They be running in the bathroom pulling a thing out their purse. So I think if they do start charging and have a certain requirement, that would change it.
Al, I'm laughing because there was some spots I went to. All I could really cover was the cover. I was on one drink for the rest of the night because the cover wiped me out.
I mean, because to be honest, some of the biggest issues is a lot of people don't know how to act. And some people want to go to fight, or it's just a lot of negative energy. And my thing is, we already don't have nowhere to go. So why would you just stay at home and get high and drink your yak? Versus, because you got some people who want to get suited and booted, and some women might want to cheat on their husbands at night, but they can't do that if they got to wear a pair of Air Force One. And how's the bar going to profit?
Well, these establishments, they charge. Some of these establishments charge $10 to get in.
Guess what? There's a lot of them that don't. I do DJ setups. I go all over
So
the city.
let me speak to the establishments that have had incidents. They charge at the door.
They did.
They charge at the door.
It's not the club.
It's not the club.
It's not the club.
It is that we are dealing with the people. We talk about mental wellness. We talk about these issues, and when we see them actualized, all we can do is blame the business. We don't want to look at society.
But you cited the difference between where that business is located.
Exactly.
Right.
So this is a business on the north side, again, abutting a residential area. Elsa's is a business downtown with other similar businesses, right? And what you don't want to have, and I know people go, oh, it shouldn't matter. It does matter, because what Water Street generates in terms of income, what they're generating there on Jefferson, and on, what's the other spot? Jefferson, where is Elsa's is on Milwaukee. What they're generating in terms of money.
Elsa's is on Jefferson.
Jefferson, it's a significant amount of money. So I know people don't want to hear that argument because you want to get into sameness and that, it should know there is a difference.
So recognizing that, right? And so we're Sim City, right? We're building a city. The heart of the city is the downtown area. We want to make it strong. I'm touching and agreeing with you on that part, right? But how do we build economics when we're closing businesses because of the issue that we know exists that has nothing to do with the operation of the establishment?
Do we need another bar?
Do we need another bar? Yeah. Yeah,
No,
we're
we
going to
don't.
open up a restaurant.
All right,
Don't
appreciate
talk
you, man.
crazy.
Thank you.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm saying
No,
that in terms of a need for the
hold on, wait.
community.
Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Let me tell you why. I'm always promoting social wellness as a part of our overall health. Health is where you work, sleep, eat, and play. If I had the means to take a cruise, a Mediterranean cruise, every time I needed to de-stress, I would do it. 5,000, 10,000. What's the budget? Right? But that's not typically what the means are for people. So they need $1 nights. They need the happy hour. They need a place where, they want to go where everybody knows their names. They
don't need the $1 night. The bar does the $1 night to attract people there. So you do $1 nights?
Never do another $1 night.
Listen to what I'm saying about how people cope and how they cope based on their means.
Okay.
If I had the means to take a vacation when I needed to de-stress, I wouldn't go to $1 night. I'm talking about
Bria, there's some people like to party.
Yeah,
I mean, there's some people like to party.
Okay, we're not. We have talking about the spectrum of people and why we have establishments, right?
I appreciate you being clinical and why people go to bars and nightclubs. You come up with this psychological clinical assessment. Sometimes, I think we talked about it. Sometimes you need distraction.
Like the party.
Some people like the party. I mean, they like.
Yep, they like the entertainment.
And let me tell you something.
To be together.
I love
a healthy level of
especially a good party.
Ain't nothing healthy about $1 night.
Wait, the camaraderie?
I ran
camaraderie. You ain't gonna even know.
No,
you're gonna be
once
drunk.
again, the dollar.
You guys are. You
know
guys
what? I ran. Hold on, wait a minute. I ran a bar called Big George's right here on 8th and Atkinson. I got a knot in the back, cutting the back of my head from the last $1 night I did. I'm getting hit with a pistol while fighting 30 people to get out that $1 night. So if you want $1 night, go get your liquor before 9. That's $1 night. And then hang out at the crib. That's Keon. Hang out at the crib. Because I'm finna tell you, one thing Keith said, that you know what we didn't understand? What we didn't understand at the time about what was going on in our bar at closing time? I didn't understand this new drug called ecstasy. So at the end of the night, while I'm wiping booty prints off the mirror from the girls, these dudes want to fight the girls at the end of the night instead of taking them home because they got their problems. They want to pop their pills, come to $1 night, and hang out.
Want to make you fight?
You know, it
makes you want to have sex.
Yeah, but no, it enhances whatever you already own. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to love, you're gonna be a super lover. If you're angry and don't know what
you know, from everything people describe it as. But anyway,
we are a communal people, and if we speak to say that it is not important for us to gather, then we are being naive.
No, I agree. I agree with you.
Hold on, wait. And the gathering happens at establishments where there is music, where there is food, where there is libations, right? We know this. We know this is a part of our wellness if it's done in a healthy
When are you more likely to have a riot? In the summertime or in the wintertime?
What they got
in the summer?
I'm going to make a point.
That's
a communal event. So what happens is hot. And what fuels riots?
Anger and injustice.
What else?
Injustice.
What else?
Systematic oppression.
What was the old dude doing up here with our little insurrection up at Clark's Liquor? The first place people gonna go, they're gonna get liquored up, right? Because now that gives you.
When they raided
I'm telling you, the first place people go. Now, young people are different because the first place they're going during a riot is where the sneakers are. But old dudes, they getting liquored up, and here we go.
They ain't start the riot because they were drunk. They started the riot because there was some level of injustice that they were experiencing that they could not continue to process and cope with.
You are on it today.
I mean, we gotta stop acting.
Hey, wait a minute. I got one for. I got one for.
Really on it today?
Listen. I got one for.
You on it today?
Because she finna run a restaurant and she got to learn a lesson in ambiance.
Well, so, for one, hold on, let me share.
Let me give you this lesson in ambiance. So you got clubs, you got bars. What else fuels the actions of your patrons? What they eat, the music you playing.
Music.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So $1 night ain't really a
listen.
So a Debo $1 night at the Blues Club is a whole lot different than a $1 night with the
purpose,
Mystical and Master P.
My point in that, right? We know that there are differences based on who's running an establishment. Let's not get into
the age group too.
We know that there is a difference. I'm talking about the core reason why people do what they do. If we are going to say that people should not go to establishments, no. This is what Keon I'm just giving this out. They should go and buy their liquor before 9 and go home
for $1 night because it's cheap. It's 8 shots to a bottle.
Keon,
to half pint.
We're not doing a cost benefits analysis.
Oh yeah, I mean,
$1 that is.
We're not doing that for this conversation. We're talking about why people play in nightclub establishments.
Right.
It's a part of our health.
We understand all that.
It's a part of health. So we want to have healthy establishments people can go and play in, right? So how do we support that? That's what I'm trying to understand. How do we say that we are dealing with a population that has heavy issues all across the board, whether it's housing, whether it's employment, whether it's lack of coping skills, whether it's addiction, right? We talk about mental health all the flipping time. And then when we see it being demonstrated because a person can't manage and regulate their emotions, when we see it in actuality, we be like, oh my gosh, what are they doing? What is wrong with them? We know what's wrong with them. We already said that half of our freaking country has mental health anxiety disorder.
Oh, so now you
now you go
give them cheap liquor.
Right.
No, Keith.
Cheap liquor in a compressed area. Thank you very much, whoever said girls and boys.
Yeah.
And we're talking about a certain demographic now, which means that it leads to all kind of craziness.
I'm talking about human beings right now.
Okay.
I'm talking about human beings, right? That as a people, part of our health includes where we play.
May I ask you a question? When you were in your 20s and you went out,
I was wholesome.
Wholesome.
She was wholesome.
Wholesome.
Go ahead, Keith. Go ahead. That's okay.
Sister, you've been
So you're in your 20s.
Okay.
I think you were married, but you're single, right?
Uh-huh.
So what are you out for? You and your girls are going out.
With my friend girl.
You and your girls out, right? Because y'all ain't out to meet anybody, though you hope you do.
I mean, what do you mean?
You know, y'all ain't out to meet nobody, though you hope you do.
So I hang out with my friend girls. We're not looking to catch. We just out there.
But if something comes along,
about her day, I'm talking about my day.
You talking about the day.
And y'all dressed up too, right?
In my 20s.
Y'all dressed up too, right?
Okay, this is our play.
You don't leave the house without your mascara.
This is the play of our health.
It's youth.
Keith, it is health. This is a part of what we need to internalize as a human being. We need healthy outlets to have play.
There are healthy outlets.
This is why it's so important that we don't lose the child, the inner child in us. That keeps us balanced in some ways. Now, as adults, we go to the restaurants, we have dinner, we have wine. Now, in America, we just made alcohol a part of the culture. That's just a part
Every
of
culture is part of the culture.
So hold on. So I get what she's talking about,
we have sensationalized drinking.
So
it's a
You know how people drink in England? You know how people drink in Ireland? There people they Americans drink, but there's folks who drink. Drink. Well,
in Wisconsin,
which tends to be pretty European.
Okay.
But let me touche. But so let me ask the point, because there are places to go that aren't in trouble, that don't have
most
the
of the
issue.
bars are.
The majority of them. So the ones that are in trouble are basically the ones that, like Elsa's. Elsa's has been fined for 30-some years, 40 years.
Elsa's had some incidents.
Yeah, no, everybody's had incidents.
No. They've had some serious incidents.
No.
They just know how to. They just don't get that type of publicity.
But listen to what I'm saying. They had, like I just said, there were places I went to. Every place has an incident because it's called ignorant oil.
Or called people.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is,
once a certain demo, continue to support the establishments that are dealing with the people. When the people. How do we continue?
What people? You got to be.
But you in business, and part of your business calculation is how do I make this business work? And I have to think about all the things, the demographics that I'm going to. What? And we talk about demographics. Just look at the whole money piece. What is the income level of folks that you're dealing with? So if I'm dealing with someone that there's a certain way that we just do things. Look, and I hate, and I'm trying not to say it, Carvey, but there's some Negroes. This is their big opportunity. They're going to come, they're going to clown in front of everybody. And now with social media, you out with us, didn't nobody know. We had to call and say, oh, you heard, and then I'd go to a payphone. And Bria just got her head peeled. Now I got, as Bria's get her head peeled, I'm actually videotaping that.
Ooh, let's ride down there.
Yeah, and people, first thing they want to, it's a crazy thing about, it's like a car crash, right? Like people tell you, NASCAR is popular. So you think they go there for the speed? No, they go there for the possibility of a crash.
That's what people are looking for when they go to the racetrack.
That's what they look on TV for, on social media for. They want to look at the reels.
It's like if you go to a hockey game,
for the fights.
You go for the fights.
Because people like drama.
And that's what I'm finna say. That's why I called him in. And somebody that's a DJ at bars where I'm talking about a lot of times establishments, earlier conversation, because of the ownership and the way it's ran, everybody has issues. But like when we talk about places like Mr. J's now, as opposed to all the other establishments that Arliss owned, is the owner after. The Onyx now, that was ARJ's. Once Arliss left and started Mr. J's, the next owner always had problems. And once again, what's going on now, Essence has been there for a while. I go to a lot of bars. I seen a bar fight amongst the 54-year-olds. It was quick. The tables moved. Everybody was like, dog, get out of here. They moved it around and they kept kicking it. And, you know, that was in Brown Deer.
Those are old drug dudes.
But I've been there. I've seen it.
We can handle old drug dudes differently because he just owned a drug. But when you got a young drug dude who's strapped to the nines.
Who might be on lean.
Right.
Who might be using, right? And so this is my point. We know all these things exist. We know these things exist. Why don't we say, you know what? How do we support maybe the bid in that area? How do we support making sure that we can have an MPD presence? Not that it's a negative reason that they're there. We're just using this as a deterrent to certain behavior. Can we have a squad car that just is out on certain nights, Saturdays, Fridays, Thursdays, right? To just make sure
they are.
They have a tavern. They have a tavern squad.
Yep, I get it. I get it. When they're available, right? Because
no. That's
like a social media squad.
Responsibility is to just pop up at bars and see what's going on.
But I don't know.
Make sure you're not over capacity.
I don't know that that's actually being actualized right now, and I can speak to it because I do business consulting for nightclub establishments, and one of the issues is that even if they try to schedule an officer, and this is if they're intentional in saying I want to have an officer, that the need because we have a shortage. We have a shortage so this is a trickle down effect. We have a shortage of officers in our police department. So the priority is not this establishment who even willing to pay almost $100 an hour to have that officer. Matter of fact, it's almost $200 an hour because you have to have 2 officers there. You know, you have to contract them. They are willing to pay that as an investment to ensure their business is safe. But because of the lack of officers and the increased overtime, they can't make that commitment.
But now you're going in a whole different direction than the initial conversation I heard. Now we're talking about shortage in police department.
No, we're just talking about safety of the establishments.
Well, let me say this though, as a former owner, every day you open that door, if you're real with yourself, every time you walk in there could be your last, and that's a realization that you deal with as an owner. You could get killed, somebody else could get killed, and they shut you down. So again, every day you have to address it totally different, and it's kind of like by the moment. Yeah, you want to have security in place. I just saw something on the news about the security guard that got killed over on Fond du Lac or something like that. And it's like,
was he breaking up a fight, right?
He was doing his job. He was breaking up a fight.
Exactly.
Outside of the establishment.
So we have to look at the culture. ARJ's ran a totally different type of operation.
That's what I was saying.
You know, he catered towards, and one of the things that
now, wait a minute, when you say catered towards, also means some sort of discrimination.
You could call it that.
I mean, you got to call it what it is.
Yeah,
that's not discrimination.
No, you discriminate against those who don't want in.
Right.
That's not discrimination.
And there's ways of doing that don't play the music that they want to hear. Right. The places I play at, it's straight blues. They don't want to hear that. But now you've got Southern Soul, which is a totally different twist on the blues. So now they're starting to show up in those places.
If you want to leave.
Go ahead and leave, baby.
Sorry, go ahead.
I saw what's his name? Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
Hanging out with King George.
Yeah.
Singing If You Want to Leave. So again, they're starting to migrate to that. And it really is, it just kind of speaks to me, the fact that I've been saying this for years, that it's just a weird time in this, the world that we live in. Whereas, especially when you're at a certain age, there are not a whole lot of places that want to even be bothered with you. Just don't come here, go somewhere else. Why?
How do we address that?
We don't have, there used to be teen clubs. Is there still some teen clubs around?
No, because they all got that drama.
Where's it at? Club.
Oh yeah,
Club who?
Club Lit.
Because it's lit.
Yeah.
Jules Caribbean.
Oh, okay, yes. From Pepper Pot and from Skybox.
Okay. But again, how long has it been there, and how long is it going to be there?
But you know what? Here's the other thing.
Hold on, wait.
And here's something me and Debo wants to experience. we were 18 and we could drink. See, that was a big thing. So you hitting bars at 18.
You burn out at 21.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm saying you. So it wasn't the same thing. You got 21-year-olds who gonna go down.
Burned out, but you know how to conduct yourself.
Right, you've been in the bar.
That was the key.
But now you got 18, 19-year-olds can't get in the bar, but they want to be down. So they go down to Water Street and just go walking up and down Water Street. They ain't got nothing. They're not gonna spend any money
to fight for the country, but they ain't old enough to drink.
And
okay. So the demographics that we are, highly concerned about as it relates to establishment. So we got one teen establishment, right?
Mm-hmm. One.
But from 18 to 30, from 18 to 30, what do we do with that population? That is what most people will say are the perpetrators, the culprit, the age group.
That's true. But check this. A lot of bars, if they smart, they've gone to a 35 and up.
Okay.
So they're kind of trying to work around that whole age
market.
Okay, so then here's what
18 to 30-year-old market.
So then
those are the ones that go after that market, Keith, Bria. Those are the ones that typically you'll hear about in the news. They're not going to be around long.
Grand opening.
That's the quick money. Right. That's the quick money. Now there are those that go after the quick money and they do pretty good for a while, but then they're gone. I look at a place like, and not to throw names, but there's a place on 60th Street that as long as a particular person had it, it was fine. And it ran pretty good for particular years. But as soon as that person wasn't there,
and Junior got it.
Yeah, and Junebug and them got it.
Yeah.
Boom, gone. Neighbors totally against the establishment because he no longer has it. And it's being ran differently, not with those same parameters in mind as to how they operate.
But they're dealing with the same issues on the South Side in certain bars that are dealing with people 18 to 30.
They say then I'm going to get out the chair, Keith. It's when they start letting us in.
That's what I was getting to. That's what I was getting to. Period of point blank.
Who is us?
We already know.
I was telling Bria off. Hey, I was just telling Bria off air how good it is to be white. You're listening to.
Jeez Louise.
You're listening to community. We're good. We keep going. But no, the Latino bars, they're dealing with, and then there's certain white bars.
Wait a minute,
depending on where they are,
wait a minute.
They're dealing with the same issues.
But to Debo's point, you got to understand, us is not a racial demographic.
I know.
So they have us's too. You feel me?
Everybody got
just
us.
like everybody got us's. They come out after 5 on a regular day, just like at our Juneteenth. Some people leave at 3-4. Some people come at 4-5. And in those same cultures, whether it's the African diaspora, Afro Fest, whether it's on the South Side, certain people get up late.
Biker bars. Biker bars.
What about biker bars?
It's gonna be some drama.
Okay.
At biker bars. Now, the one ingredient in all of this that we're really not talking about is alcohol, right? I mean, that is. I mean, people got the other things, but it's alcohol. You talk about Wisconsin, for example. We consume an awful lot of alcohol, and then when the alcohol kicks in, you can have all kind of craziness. But it's tough, man. It's a risk. And again, let's say you're dealing with 18 to 30-year-olds, but your 18 to 30-year-olds are college educated.
It's a different.
It's a different group, right? So, in terms of what they bring in, now one of the reasons why I didn't have any drama was I had a job I had to go to. I don't need to be sitting downtown, losing my job or in the hospital down over some nonsense.
So then we know that having employment is a contributor to having healthy places to play. So that's my point. Right, that our establishments are dealing with the cesspool of all these social issues, right? Keep giving y'all out of that.
Right,
dropping some dollars today, boy.
So what you want to figure out is where do we deal with the cats that just start trouble and cause trouble everywhere, so we can get them out of all the other establishments?
How do we support the establishments that's saying I'm trying to create a space for everybody?
I can tell you, and this is universal, regardless of ethnicity, everybody got one.
Okay.
And if you out doing that, you got somebody in your crew that at some point gonna step over the line. We good? Okay. Yeah. You're listening to Community Voice. We're gonna take a break. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Community Voice. Caller, welcome to the program.
Greetings, how you doing?
Good, man. Thank you for your patience too, man. I know you've
Oh,
been trying to
it's all
get in.
good. Rhea, Debo, Keon, all y'all. I
Good
actually
morning.
called in on some piece on the aviation, but I joined in on the conversation on that. People only do things that they believe they can get away with.
Right.
Yeah.
And part of the social engineering is that something a caller called in earlier about law enforcement officers and the people that should have the job / responsibility, not caring, which includes the patrons. And that's why older places don't have as much problem because they care about the places. They usually say something or look like or behave in such a way where you feel as a young person you won't be able to get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
That something will transpire where you're not going to be able, because people want to be able to do it and get away with it. They're not doing something to get caught. And then Debo mentioned Snoop. We have to actually start speaking out against, and I know it's considered art, movies like Underdog, where they got, 10, 11, 12-year-olds acting rowdy, drinking beer, whole scenes of them drinking beer like they in Vegas, pouring beer on each other, stuff like that to tell young children, this is how you have fun. I've said this many times for Juneteenth. We don't have a culture to teach young people how to engage and have fun, because when Debo talks about those age range, that's because people was the same thing they was doing at the bar, people was doing at their house, right, on the porch.
Right.
And the bars is this extension of that. So young people got a chance to see those activities. The thing I was going to call on the aviation is that one of the greatest resources that I've been able to take advantage of in the aviation area with children is getting one of those Discovery World memberships. And I think Betty Brim as well. But when you get a membership, particularly I got the family, you get access to the science centers that are for free or reduced throughout the world. And so I go for the last 10 years to the Oshkosh Aviation Museum, where children under the age between 8 and 18 get to go up in the plane. So my children's flown several times. I've taken other children, to fly to get that experience. And for roughly $50 for a membership, and I understand they even have reduced membership as low as $45. You can't beat that. To have your child go up and actually be in the plane. They don't let them fly, but if the child seems confident, they'll let go or have their hands on the yoke and have the child guide the plane. So they, depending on the maturity of the child and how they behave going up and listen to the instructions, they'll get to steer up in the air where ain't nobody, they're going to crash into nobody else. So that's a wonderful resources in Wisconsin.
I saw, wasn't it someone, it was a couple of years ago, it was a, what's my boy, is it Abadu Butler? Ajimo Butler. What's the piece they do in the hood?
Heal the Hood.
Heal the Hood.
Heal the Hood.
And they had the aviation simulators there for the kids.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, they had it over, on this lot right across from where our table was, our tent. They had, and the kids were actually doing like this simulator of a plane.
And see, those things, and those are part of the things that when you expose young people to those type of things, to reinforce their self-esteem,
right,
and looking at avenues where they can show out and brag and pop their collar in their mind on positive avenues instead of drinking beer and cussing out adults like I said, the Snoop Dogg movie, Underdogs. It's just real disrespectful that we keep pushing this madness and calling it art, even if the story has a meaning at the end. That's that tricky Disney stuff where children disrespect their parents the whole program, and then the end it's a lesson.
Yeah.
Let's ritualize a lesson in the program. Unfortunately, for me, I didn't appreciate the Cosby Show until I had children. They ritualized, the lesson in the program. So at the end, it had to be a PSA. Well, we did all of this to show you how this is destructive. No, the children was checked and created a scenario for that, and not a scenario for people to get hyped up and ramped up, because that's what society we in. The last thing is, like, I remember and keyed in ever since the Teju or on the white on white crime report, that we're just mimicking what the mainstream is doing. Everything that we talk about, they do. They get way more arrests at Summerfest than Juneteenth ever does, in a percentage of time and hours, and more violent. Water Street, same situation.
But maybe it's human behavior, and maybe we so racialize everything in this country that we don't realize that what all of us are doing is basically human behavior. And this idea that, now there are some things that you can say ethnically, we started this off talking about the DC sniper, right? And nobody believed that the DC sniper, even black people didn't believe that the DC sniper was black, right? And it was something, and it was interesting how deep internalized racism is. We were on a retreat when they found out who it was. It was a young lady there, really bright and everything. And so I asked the young people, I said, so how do y'all feel about this? And the one young girl said this, and it just blew my mind. She said, well, I couldn't believe that it was a black man because I didn't believe a black man could be that organized.
And see,
she was like 17. We just fell back like, what? Whoa.
And that's what I'm saying is the images we have, that was understood because that person planned, the DC sniper planned that because he was after just one person, which would be him going after this one person. So he went after all these other people in this big thing to prevent people from looking at him, which was bizarre. But anyway, so I got what you're saying, to racialize. I understand because of the culture of not being able to get away with stuff. Right. I remember, and I know people talk about this, I remember when, we talk about eating rhubarb and drinking out of people's water holes. When you get to certain areas, you drink out of water holes, and those people tell you to leave off of their property. And when you scoot and leave on your way back on your bike, the police will be there. I'm saying that when I was young and the police told me, when I had license applied for, didn't have license plates on my vehicle, and they said, you laughing at me, and targeting people like that. But then you could, once you was registered, you could go to the police station. That's a whole other issue, and they'll get rid of that ticket.
Right.
But I didn't like that when I was young, but now that I'm older, it made me realize that I can't drive without a license plate. How are you driving without a license plate today? And
but you know what? You have too much. When I was 21, I remember saying this. I was so into socialism and basically communism, and that we should have shared goods and everything, and then I was really into revolutionary Christianity, and we should sell all our earthly goods to feed the poor. Here's why I could do that. I had no earthly goods to feed the poor. I now have earthly goods. Parting with those earthly goods, you know what I mean? Because I've invested. It's a struggle.
When we were having cycles, and this happens with schools, we have adults come up to schools to defend some child's foolishness.
Right.
And the only time that you have that is when those people don't really have value within that community, that family, whoever called them up, they only known for that. That's what they're giving energy to in their family. Right. So we need to neutralize that, because you don't go up there, like you said, when you got a job, when you got an idea and a purpose, then those silly things move away, because people do silly things. I got that. But I'm saying we have to push towards a culture that focuses on people only do things that they can get away with. Since we know the police don't care, they reduce their traffic stops. They basically punishing the Milwaukee residents for the ACLU lawsuit that showed that they were discriminating and violating people's constitutional rights. So they said, since y'all want to critique us, we'll see how y'all do without us. Which they got a clear history. They've been having that history since they ever started, and we won't focus on it. And I put a lot of pressure on them only because they're professionals. They get paid. That's their responsibility. I think it is our responsibility too to speak to the people when we see something going in. We need to let people know that's not what we're trying to do here, and try to be skilled enough to bring love and attention. to those who were here. Like we said, some people are just those people. They gonna show out anyway, and we need to remove them individually.
And that ain't new under the sun.
That ain't
the difference is, I tell people you have to take into account technology and scale. We had ignorant Negroes. You know how many times Garfield Park got shut down trying to do free concerts? You know how many times we had to shut down our avenue and we brought a DJ on the playground? But here's the difference: firepower. You have people now. We did not have the firepower during that day. If somebody had a knife, maybe had a little gun, that was it. Too many people are strapped now. So how they going to resolve issues
is why we need to increase police presence instead of saying we want to defund the police. And I think this is something
we need to have activities where we reinforce what guns are used.
Right. Police are in a reactive mode anyway.
Right. So but having thank you so much, Carla. We appreciate it. But having a presence is what's important, right?
Yeah,
and so what we have done, what kind of presence? But what we have done is that we just don't want you here. Don't be in our neighborhoods. Don't police us. We can police ourselves.
But part of that is who's saying that? Some of that, not everybody, but some of that is people who have nefarious activities going on. So obviously they want the cops there.
Hold on, wait, no, those folks ain't even bothered. They ain't no. We have adopted talking points from people that don't even live in our neighborhoods in some ways, right? We don't need to have police here. Yes, we do. Because they're on Water Street to protect the people there. We need them in our neighborhoods where we have establishments, Keith. That's what you said. We need them in our neighborhoods to have a presence so that we can deter behavior because people do what they can get away with.
So I'm going to tell you something.
But the cop has to be in. I just go someplace the cop ain't.
But wait a minute. No, here's the thing, though.
But we're talking about where the people are.
So policing our own, that's another one. When I was bartending, there was a change.
I don't want street anger. Let me wait, because I'm really irritated with the narrative of policing ourselves.
That's not what I'm saying. When I say police ourselves, there was a change in 2003. When I was bartending, I ran the bar from early 2000 to late 2003. And for a couple of years, our officers, the Royces, the Lindas, the folks that grew up in the neighborhood, the Tommy Hines and them, they would be there as officers that would show up on scene. They knew the people. You know, I remember one officer pulled up. It was like, don't worry about dude. I'm going to get dude. I dream of getting dude when I get up in the morning. And my guy said, and that's his little cousin. You know what I'm saying? So it was the difference. At some point, I felt like we got to call that bar fight. Was the first time we called the police and all white officers showed up. They handled us different. The bar owner went to jail. The other dude went to jail. They sent me to the hospital trying to get me to get staples so they could charge a dude with a felony. You know what I'm saying? That I know to this day. And we cool today. You know, they wanted me to get the staples and then you get a felony. It was different. And I thought they set it up that way. I found out years later that those officers had an option to get out the neighborhood. And they were tired of dealing with this amongst their own people and family. So that's another piece about the presence of the officers. When I do events at Atkinson, and I have a good relationship with 5th District, the captain and the sergeants, because when I do events, I want police officers there that can communicate. You know, they sent the perfect officers last summer that they showed up to everything, and I'm seeing them around, and I helped the captain understand what was needed in the neighborhood so you can form relationships.
Is there a
difference? We just don't want police officers in the neighborhood. They got the jump out boys in the neighborhood.
Sometimes you need to jump out boys.
Yeah, not really.
Yes.
They end up being rogues. They were rogues too. Some of them had charges too. They dirty boys.
I was just going to ask though, the type of activity that you're having, you're going to have a different police interaction than the type of interaction when I'm doing a club. I'm not saying because, I know the boys across the street might be doing what they're doing, but the vast majority of people hold on, let me finish. In your activities are not people who are going to come there necessarily for drama.
Well, in the same district, they are. So what happens is...
But I'm talking about your event.
But listen to what I'm saying. Because they live in the area and it's that district, they form a relationship, and sometimes it's just a matter of shift change. because now you have respect of this officer from when you see them daily. They're able to say, "Dude, come here."
But he's coming with a different attitude because he's not coming in when he knows that I'm going to
I
patrol.
grew up with the police department.
Hold on, but can I make my point?
So
wait a minute, Keon.
Can he make the point yet?
Look at dude acting like we act with you. Stop it.
Here's the point I'm trying to make: is that there's a difference when I'm doing a community event, right, during the day. Now, it's a difference. Then I have to go now to a nightclub or a bar.
I understand.
And that's all I'm saying. Just know the difference. So when the cops go in and looking, when I'm coming over here, I ain't looking for trouble.
Just like first shift officers are different from third shift officers. There's a tactic to it because they all work they're assigned to a district. Sometimes you may need to send the people that got the relationships in the daytime and at the events, you need to send them in at night because they have relationships. Once again, I said the officers that were policing their own lived in the neighborhood and knew the people regardless of what shift.
All last summer,
so you're able to communicate.
We did
with
community
people
events, and most of those events had police there, right?
Yep.
From the night outs.
Yep.
Saquana Taylor's thing at McGovern Park. There's always police. Yeah. What I'm saying
those
is
are partnerships. The National Night Out is an actual partnership.
But what I'm saying is, so when they come in, my attitude is going to be very different, right? Because I'm not anticipating, first of all, that we're going to have troubles. We could, but we don't, and they're not there for that. But when they're out and they have to patrol a neighborhood that's abutting a bar or Water Street, that's a totally different
So what events am I doing though? And who is my target? What is the target for my event? Because it's not a fatherhood initiative I'm doing. I'm doing events that focus on neighborhood resident engagement in disparaged neighborhoods with folks that have nothing and trying to get to know folks to recreate the community, the relationships.
But what is not, Kia, is a business that has to meet overhead costs
and fueled by alcohol.
Right. It is not a business that's operating every day.
I was just talking about the difference in just having police officers.
That has a license that is regulated by the city. That's totally different.
But once again, what I was talking about was running a business. Use
that as an example.
The example I was given was about running a business when police officers that were from
use that as an example because the
dynamics changed once those officers left. Because the
other
dynamics
are changing because you're not a business owner that has to that has to comply with.
But I was talking about running a business that complied with that, and it all changed because the officers that start showing up afterwards that were occupying and didn't have relationships, it started changing because they reported differently. Even also, the other officers were able to maintain, but they got tired. But they were able to maintain because I knew you. I can come see you in the day. Once I figured I can hear a name and know whose parents they were and where to go.
The diversity of events that we worked was just a different animal. If I'm going even over at St. Anne's, right? People just chilling in the park.
You want to get the calls real quick?
We got
a break.
It's the final break.
Okay, that's why I was trying to hurry up because they were on hold.
Don't get frustrated.
I'm not frustrated.
You look frustrated.
Oh, for a long time.
I hear it in your tone.
Look at it. Look.
You know what?
happening, man?
Do
You gotta be
not,
quick with it.
do not let your kids watch Underdog. Please, that is a trash movie. I'm glad that guy said that. Don't let your kids watch it. I watched that in the door. I don't know what's in the Lesson Snoop is trying to pull. So that's all I want.
Thank you.
You know,
No to the underdog.
When he mentioned that, though, remember the original Bad News Bears with Walter Matthau?
No.
Yeah, well, he was giving the kids who were drinking beer, and these kids were 12 and 13. He gave them the beer.
My daddy used to be. Never mind. Keep going. Get that
Call him up to the program. Call him up to the program.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Got to make it quick. We're at the last bit.
All right. I do believe that we should be policing ourselves, because when it comes to the police, ever since Black Lives Matter came out, they're not police. I done seen it before. They're not doing what they need to do. And this one thing, if your people get shot, man, don't call the police. Don't call the ambulance. Throw them peoples in the car. Put pressure on their wounds. And get them to the Freighter Hospital. Because a lot of our young black people are dying because the police is not helping. They let these kids this blood run out, just die. So when it comes to the police, they get shot, they grab them and put them in the car and go save their life. When it comes to us, they want to talk about what happened, the ambulance, woo this, woo that. Police is not policing no more because of Black lives.
All right.
These men, which is men, to call themselves coaches or men or brethren, whatever, get out here on the street, man.
All right.
I got neighbors calling me left and right when somebody shoot. Somebody do this, somebody do that. My neighbors call me all the time. Could you come here and do this, do that? Man, I'm not putting my life on the line for people that ain't putting their life on the line for me.
All right.
And that's what's going on.
All right. Appreciate it, bro. We got to go.
And this is why we don't have officers that look like us.
Let me thank everybody for being part of the program today. Bria, thank you. Keon, thank you. Carvey, thank you. Debo, thank you. Hey, the good Lord willing, Creek don't rise. Hope to talk to everybody tomorrow. And as always, go from this place in peace.